My name is Olivia. I lived with my husband, Ethan, and his 20-year-old daughter, Kelly. Even though Kelly wasn't my biological daughter, we had lived together for years and felt like a real family. Then, one day, Ethan passed away suddenly. It was so unexpected that Kelly and I were in complete shock. We had to arrange the funeral, and even though we were still dazed, we managed to get everything done. Many people came to say their goodbyes. At the end of the service, I stood up to thank everyone. I wanted to speak from the heart, so I shared my feelings about Ethan. Many people were moved to tears. But then, Kelly suddenly stood up and asked for the microphone. Since she was Ethan's daughter, I thought she might want to say something about him, so I handed it to her. What she said next shocked everyone. My father, Ethan, has passed away. Because of this, I want to cut ties with this woman pretending to be in charge here, Kelly said coldly, looking at me. I was stunned. It's only natural, right? We're not even related. She's just my stepmother, yet she's acting like my real mom. It was so annoying. Kelly continued, I only played along because Dad wanted me to, but to me, she was never more than a source of money. Why was she saying this now? People in the crowd started whispering. Maybe the stepmother did something bad. For a child to say this at a funeral, it must be serious. Kelly smirked as if she had won. See, everyone agrees with me, she said. Memories of our years together flashed in my mind, taking care of her when she was sick, helping her study, listening to her worries. She used to call me Mom. Did she always see me as nothing but a burden? You still don't get it, do you? Kelly said. Do you even know why Dad married someone like you in the first place? Confused, I replied. Well, we met through a friend and had a lot in common. So? Kelly let out a loud sigh and scoffed. Then, she said something truly shocking. Kelly's words stunned me. Dad only saw you as a housekeeper, you know? He was rich but too busy to take care of me or do housework, so he chose you for that. That couldn't be true, could it? So there was never any love? I asked. Kelly ignored my shock and smirked. Can you just be reasonable and give up the inheritance? What? It's only fair, isn't it? Dad didn't even like you. You shouldn't get any of his money. As his real daughter, I should get everything. Kelly was completely serious, acting like she was right and even laughing about it. After all the years I had spent raising her, how could she say such things? Raising Kelly hadn't been easy. She went through a long rebellious phase, had trouble with friends, and sometimes refused to go to school or do her homework. She never helped around the house unless I constantly reminded her. I had often wondered why I worked so hard for a child that wasn't my own, but I did it because I loved Ethan. I supported Kelly, listened to her problems, and encouraged her. She had grown up, graduated, and even been working for the past 2 years. When she got her first paycheck, she bought me a beautiful piece of jewelry. That had felt meaningful, but now, hearing her words, I realized she had never cared for me at all. Fine, I said, if that's what you want, I'll do it. Really? Kelly looked surprised. Yes, giving up an inheritance takes some legal work. I'll look into it and send you the documents. You'd do that for me? Kelly. Don't say my name like we're close, she snapped. That's exactly what I hate about you. She looked at me with pure disgust. Then, turning to the crowd, she announced loudly, I'm sorry for the scene today, but I want you all to witness this. I am cutting ties with this woman and finally freeing myself. Kelly spoke like she was making an important declaration, but I wouldn't stay quiet. I took the microphone back and said, I also want witnesses. From this moment on, I no longer consider this child my daughter. No matter what happens, I will not help her again. Please remember that. Kelly gasped. What? I don't need your help. I'm an adult. I have my own place and take care of myself. We're done. I see, I replied calmly. Then be strong, no matter what comes next. The funeral ended in an awkward silence. Some people probably felt sorry for Kelly, while others might have thought she was in the wrong. Everyone had their own thoughts. I felt terrible for Ethan. He had asked me to take care of Kelly, and now things had fallen apart. Maybe if I had handled things better, this wouldn't have happened. But there was no fixing it now. I decided to move on with my life, free from Kelly. However, just a few days later, Kelly suddenly burst into my house, looking panicked. What is the meaning of this? You knew, didn't you? I frowned. What are you talking about? And don't just barge into someone else's house. Kelly ignored me. That's not important right now. Did you already know about this? Tell me the truth. She looked pale, demanding answers. I looked at Kelly and calmly said, You mean the fact that you and Ethan aren't blood related? Of course, I knew that. Her eyes widened. How? How did you know? Why wouldn't I? Ethan and I were married. We talked about everything before our marriage. Didn't you know this about yourself, even at your age? Kelly's face turned pale. she stammered, trying to process my words. That can't be true. You always acted so close to Ethan, yet he didn't even tell you something this important? I threw her own words from the funeral back at her. It wasn't the most mature thing to do, but I couldn't hold back. As expected, she looked shaken. Then, in a small voice, she pleaded. Please, tell me the truth. I sighed and decided to explain everything. You thought Ethan was your real father, but you didn't know the truth. Your biological mother was married before she met Ethan. You were born from that first marriage. When she divorced, Ethan took you in, and after she passed away, he raised you as his own. Kelly must have discovered this while handling the inheritance paperwork and checking the family registry. Before we got married, Ethan had told me, Kelly isn't my biological daughter, but I think of her as my own. So when we remarry, I want you to take care of her like she's yours. That's why I always treated her like my real daughter. Kelly shook her head in denial. No, that's a lie. Why would I lie? Because. She hesitated, looking frustrated. Because Dad never officially adopted me. He never planned to leave me an inheritance. That must mean he didn't really care about me. I sighed. You're right, there was no legal adoption. But that wasn't because he didn't care, it was for your own good. Kelly looked confused. For my good? Yes, Ethan didn't want you to feel burdened by taking care of him when he got older. That's why he didn't adopt you. As for the inheritance, he planned to give you money gradually while he was alive, but his sudden passing made that impossible. Kelly's face drained of color. She slowly sank to her knees, realizing the truth. But then, just as quickly, she stood up and blurted out. What about the inheritance? Then, Dad was wealthy. Who gets it now? It's obvious, isn't it? I said. I was his wife. His parents are gone, so I inherit everything. No, that can't be. Kelly's scream echoed through the neighborhood. Then, suddenly. Then you should give me the money in Dad's place. He planned to do that, right? So you should. I paused, and for a moment, Kelly looked hopeful, but as she saw my expression, her hope turned to fear. You forgot what you said at the funeral. I reminded her. You wanted to cut ties, remember? You said I wasn't your family, no help from me, no matter what. Yes, but that was. And you even lied, saying Ethan hated me. That wasn't true at all. We loved each other. Ethan told me. If anything happens to me, help Kelly if she ever finds out the truth. But he also said that if you were rude to me, that would change things. No money for someone who is disrespectful, he said. He gave me permission to cut you off. Kelly's face went completely pale. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Then, her voice turned desperate. Mom, I'm sorry. I was really upset back then. Huh? I didn't mean what I said at the funeral. I was just emotional. Let's forget about it and be close again, like before. She actually thought I would forgive her just like that, but I couldn't forget the humiliation she put me through. People still misunderstood me because of what she said. Some things can't be taken back. You're 20 years old. Do you really think that excuse will work? I asked, looking at Kelly. But I was really upset, she insisted. Even if you were, there are things you should and shouldn't say. I wasn't going to let her take back what she did. I made my decision clear. I won't help you anymore. No inheritance, no money. If you ever struggle, don't come to me, and don't come to this house again. It's not your home. If you do, I'll call the police. Kelly's face changed from shock to fear. She finally understood what this meant for her future. Her voice shook. What? What am I supposed to do now? I thought I'd get Dad's inheritance, so I bought expensive bags and jewelry. I can't return them, and I can't sell them for much. My credit card bills are due soon. How am I supposed to pay them? Even now, all she cared about was herself. She wasn't sad about Ethan's death, she just wanted his money. I was tired of hearing her selfish complaints. That's not my problem, I said firmly. I have no reason to care about a stranger's debt. Now leave. If you don't, I'll call the police. I reached for my phone. Kelly saw I was serious. Just send me the money, okay, please, I'll be waiting, she shouted before storming out. After that, I didn't hear from her again. I later found out that she went to Ethan's relatives, begging for money. You all knew I wasn't Ethan's real child and never told me. You should take responsibility and help me, she had said. But no one wanted to help her, especially after how she acted at the funeral. I heard she even borrowed money from shady lenders. People kept telling me rumors, but I didn't care anymore. I had inherited everything from Ethan. As I told Kelly, I didn't plan to quit my job or spend recklessly. I would use some money to renovate the house I shared with Ethan. If there was anything left, I might donate it. I didn't need a luxurious life. Just having the ability to cherish my memories with Ethan was enough for me.